Hey folks, coming at you today from the landlord front that we seem to continue to revisit. So some updates for you, kind of want to share a little bit about kind of like what I've been going through recently on things. I've heard from a ton of you that are probably experiencing many of the same, and for those of you that haven't connected with me that are experiencing this, just know that you're not alone. What I found very somewhat comical, but I wasn't necessarily surprised. I kind of called this, a year and a half ago when the Tenant Protection Act started and then the moratorium. Last week, I got notices on the remaining properties that I own within the city that either I needed to pay property taxes or they were going to send them to tax foreclosure, which is, typically the path that these things go when you are unable to make those payments. So lucky me, I got to max out my business credit line last week and pay for those taxes so that the City of Rochester doesn't take my properties back. Properties, mind you, that one of them is in particular, the worst case, have not collected a nickel in rent since I think July of 2020 at this point, and I'm going back for my 9th court appearance for a tenant who has just now finalized getting his paperwork in for the ERAP application so that he can get the back rent. One that if I did accept funds, I would be on the hook for I would be restricted rather from being able to evict him for a period of time. So I don't want the funds. I simply want him out of the property so I can sell it. The other thing that I found just, again, comical, because it's better to laugh than to scream, right? So the Department of Human Services, Monroe County DHS, came to me and said, he's approved for the funds, but we can't distribute these funds to you because you have violations on the property. Mind you, he's causing destruction to the property. So this isn't like, violations because I'm just some slumlord who doesn't care. I haven't collected rent on the property in almost, a year and a half, almost 2 years now. So yeah, there's probably some things that need to be addressed in terms of, ongoing maintenance issues. And he's removing things from destroying things, taking hand railings out of the property, throws the smoke detectors out because under his opinion, if there's violations on the property, I won't be able to collect rent. He doesn't, he doesn't know that in New York State, you pretty much can get away with not paying rent, whether there's violations on the property or not. So I wish he would just live there for free and not destroy the place. But the landlord's wishes don't come true in New York. So I found that interesting with thank you, Adam Bello, in your infinite wisdom for in-housing the distribution of aid instead of letting New York State just run with it and putting the provision in there that violations on a property make me ineligible to collect the rental aid and rental arrears that someone can prove that they're qualified for. At least do something with the program. Maybe, allocate a certain amount of the back rent to, actually getting the violations removed, and then I can receive the remaining balance of that after I've proved that the violations have been taken care of. But to simply withhold all the money that we as housing providers need in order to fix and maintain our properties, let alone pay property taxes, to withhold all that until we're able to make this magic money come out of the sky to fix it is bullshit, basically. So way to go, Bello, on a crappy program that you've devised here locally. The other thing that I found interesting was something that I've been having a ton of conversation with many of you about behind the scenes is good cause eviction. Now, a lot of us have been talking about it from the state level, but of course, City Council, at least a few members in their infinite wisdom, are introducing the concept of introducing good cause eviction specific to Rochester. I think Albany already passed it, and of course, we're going to be on the tip of the spear of insanity here in Rochester as well. So to those of you that I've already talked to about mounting a lawsuit from the housing provider front, if they were to pass good cause eviction, we are ready to go. We've got everything aligned. Any of you out there who are experiencing, some of the grief with all that's going on and would like to be a party to that lawsuit, please reach out to me. We've got funding ready. We've got legal representation ready. We are waiting to see what City Council does and if the mayor were to pass this into law. The good cause eviction basically making it almost impossible to evict someone outside of them, performing illegal activity. Even failure to pay rent is questionable. But even just wanting to terminate someone's lease, saying your lease has come up, it's over with, and I've got a different idea for this property now. Nope, not going to happen if this passes. The tenants will have more rights to our properties than we do, but of course they're not the ones that are on the hook for the water bills and the tax bills and the insurance bills and the mortgage. and all of that. So good cause, bring it, Rochester. If you do it, we are ready to fight this thing tooth and nail. And we have, and I'll tell you something right now, you've pushed enough of us into the corner on this that we are looking for a fight because we have lost too many battles along this last year and a half since the Tenant Protection Act passed, and of course this ridiculous moratorium that lasted forever. The other thing that I hear that's being talked about is C of O requirements in order to collect rent. So in the event that you don't have a certificate of occupancy on your property, there's talk now about legislation, of course, again, coming out of City Council that would make it to where landlords and housing providers cannot collect rent if they don't have a certificate of occupancy, and they couldn't even start an eviction proceeding if they didn't have a certificate of occupancy, whether for non-payment or otherwise. So that is another issue that, again, the folks that I've been talking with about this, the good cause stuff locally, there's conversations going on here. We are engaging with legal representation to find out what rights we're going to have and potentially fighting this with the city as well if they were to pass this into law. But all this stuff is just absolute insanity. It's doing nothing to improve quality of housing for people in Rochester, New York, especially those stuck within the unfortunate concentration of poverty. You see the articles coming out about credit score requirements going up and rental rates going up and everything else. And this has all been told this is coming. You guys have been hearing about this. The people that watch this that are sympathetic to it, you understand that it's happening. And for those of you in city government, like, wake up. I know that the mayor, put this task force together. I'm cautiously optimistic, but I guess that's probably the best way. I'm cautiously optimistic that they're going to come up with something that city council would even consider. It seems that the mentality of city council has gone so far off the rails that I don't know what commission could come up with or what you could put together that would change their mind about what sanity and accountability looks like in the relationship between housing providers and tenants here within the city. So again, the most important thing out of all this is for those of you that want to donate funds to fighting City Hall in the event that they were to pass good cause eviction locally, get in touch with me. We are amassing that list and we have the appropriate folks ready that we can deploy those dollars to get in there and legally fight like hell for this because this is absolutely ridiculous that they're even floating this. It's sad enough that they're floating at the state level, which doesn't surprise me, but you would hope that the representation that is closest to this concentration of poverty that unfortunately exists within the city of Rochester, you would hope that these city council people would be more aware of the devastating impacts that all this stuff is taking on the quality of housing in the city and the requirements and absurd rents that people are now facing when they try to find new housing in the city or different housing. You would hope that they would at least bring some rational thinking to it, but that seems to be totally void here in the city. So there's my rant for the day. Hope you guys are doing well. Get in touch if you have any questions, if you need to commiserate, and for, especially for my peers out there, other realtors in the community that are either dealing with it on your own properties or you have clients that are running into issues. Many of you know I'm always happy to take a phone call and provide any insights I possibly can to try to help you out. It's a big battle that we're fighting, and happy to share whatever knowledge I can to maybe alleviate some issues for you or your clients. So don't hesitate to reach out. I'll be in touch with you guys soon. Let's hope that this stuff gets pushed aside and we don't have to worry about a lawsuit with the city, but we are damn well ready to go in the event that it comes to our front door. So I'll talk to you guys soon. Be well. Thanks.